Imagine this. You walk into work, and instead of silence, you hear everything. Your boss thinks you are lazy. Your coworker thinks your shirt is ugly. Your crush thinks you are weird. And they hear yours too. What if, starting tomorrow, everyone on Earth could read minds? No privacy, no secrets, no filters. This would not be a superpower. This would be the end of society. And psychology tells us exactly why. Let's start with the first 24 hours. The first hour would be pure panic. In court, every guilty person's thoughts would scream, I did it. No trials would be needed. Lawyers would be useless. Prisons would empty in a day. In relationships, someone would ask, do you love me? And the answer would be, not really. There would be 3 billion breakups before lunch. Marriage would collapse overnight. Dating apps would shut down. At work, every passive-aggressive thought would be out loud. Every meeting would be a war zone. The CEO thinks you are replaceable. Your coworker thinks you stole their idea. Companies would collapse in a single day. In school, every student would hear the teacher thinking, these kids are dumb. Every teacher would hear a student thinking, this class is boring. No one would learn anything. On social media, nobody would post anything because everyone would already know what you were thinking before you typed it. The entire internet would go silent. Why would this happen? Because of something psychologists call impression management. Humans spend 70% of their social energy hiding what they really think. We smile when we are angry. We say I'm fine when we are not. We compliment people we do not like. We pretend to care when we do not. It is not that we are fake, it is that society would break without it. Take that away, and we have no social glue left. Now, here are the 3 dark truths of the mind. Dark truth number 1. We think terrible things constantly. Your brain is not you. Studies show the average person has 6,000 thoughts per day, and 80% of them are negative, random, or violent. Thoughts like, what if I pushed him? Or, what if I crashed the car? Or, I hate this person, or I wish they would disappear. We do not act on them. 99% of the time, they just pass. They are mental noise. But if everyone could hear them, we would all look like monsters. Your mom would hear you think something cruel. Your best friend would hear you get jealous. Your partner would hear every doubt you ever had. Your kids would hear you think, I need a break from them. We would stop trusting each other immediately. Because we would realize nobody is as good as they pretend to be. Not even ourselves. Privacy is the only thing keeping us human. Dark truth number 2, the spotlight effect would break us. Right now, you think everyone is judging you. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. You think people notice your acne, your clothes, your mistakes. You replay awkward moments for days. But in reality, nobody is paying that much attention. But what if they actually were? What if every insecurity, every weird fantasy, every shameful memory was broadcast 24/7? Imagine walking down the street and hearing, she is fat, he is poor, they are weird, I would never date them. Now imagine that is about you, all day, every day, no escape. Depression rates would triple in the first week. Anxiety would become the #1 illness on Earth. Suicide rates would explode. Human beings were never built to be this exposed. We need the illusion that we are mostly alone in our heads. That is what keeps us sane. Dark truth number 3. Civilization runs on secrets. Think about it. Money depends on secrets. If everyone knew how much money everyone else had, there would be riots. Jealousy would destroy everything. Politics depends on secrets. If every politician's real thoughts were public, no government could function. We would hear, I do not care about you, I just want power. Dating depends on secrets. If you heard what your date really thought on the first date, you would never go on a second one. We would all be single. Business depends on secrets. If every company strategy was public, there would be no competition, no innovation, no progress. War depends on secrets. If a general's battle plan is public, he loses. Nations would be defenseless. Even science depends on secrets. Researchers hide data until they publish. If everything was open, nothing would get finished. Humans evolved theory of mind 200,000 years ago so that we could hide our intentions. It is what made us the dominant species. Animals cannot lie. Animals cannot plan. We can, because we can hide. Mind reading would reverse 200,000 years of evolution in one single day. Let me give you 2 examples. Example 1, a doctor. If patients could read the doctor's mind, they would hear, this case looks bad. I do not know what is wrong. I hope I do not get sued. Would you trust that doctor? No. Hospitals would shut down. People would die. Example 2, a parent. If a child could read the parent's mind, they would hear, I am so tired. I do not have patience today. Why is this kid screaming? I regret this sometimes. The relationship would break. Kids need to believe their parents are strong. So now, the new section. What happens to culture? Music would disappear because songwriters write from private pain. If everyone heard the pain as it happened, the song would never be written. Movies would disappear because writers need to hide the plot twist. If the audience heard the writer's mind, there would be no surprise. Religion would disappear because prayer is private. If God heard your thoughts anyway, and everyone else did too, what is the point? Art comes from the secret parts of us. Take away secrets, and you take away art. The world would be gray. And what happens to crime? It would not stop. It would get smarter. Criminals would learn to think nothing, to blank their minds. Only the most dangerous people would train to do this, so the world would be run by empty minds. So now, the final question, who would survive in this new world? It would not be the honest people, because honest people still have ugly thoughts. It would not be the smart people, because smart people overthink the most. It would be the psychopaths, people with no shame, no guilt, no inner conflict. People who think, I am better than everyone and mean it. They have nothing to hide, so they would have all the power. Meanwhile, everyone else would go silent. We would stop talking. We would stop thinking. Because thinking would become dangerous, cities would go quiet, the internet would die, art would disappear, conversation would disappear, because conversation is built on the things we do not say. The world would not become more honest. The world would become empty. Mind reading sounds like a gift, like something from a superhero movie, but psychology proves it is a curse. We need secrets. We need privacy. We need the lie, because without it, there is no trust. There is no love. There is no society. There is only noise. So I will ask you, if you could read one person's mind right now, whose would it be? And if one person could read your mind right now, who would you be most scared of? Comment below and be honest. I am reading the comments. If this broke your brain a little, subscribe to Dark Human Truths. We do these What If Humans videos every week, and next week we are asking, what if humans had no memory? Share this with the one person you would be most scared of reading your mind.